Last time we saw a pursuit where there was a flag out the window like that. This person driving kind of all over the place from what we can.
There you see LAPD's helicopter coming through the shot as we get ready to go northbound on the 110. There you can see the units very close behind.
Obviously changing freeways here. You have to wonder if the suspect knows where they're going. The suspect now going northbound on the 110. Of course, if they keep going for the next hour or two, you'd hit more of your heavy rush hour traffic. But right now, look how wide open that freeway is. And the speed still even under 65 miles an hour here.
Yeah, this is pretty odd. And now we'll see there's lots of different in this particular area here. We're in the Harbor Gateway area now as we continue to move. So grand theft auto, that means that sometimes they don't know who the suspect is because it's hard to get a sense of what car they're driving. We also don't know if the suspect was armed at the time that they allegedly stole this vehicle, or what the significance is of this flag that they have waving out the window as they make their move now. 110 freeway going north.
Meaning the suspect is heading towards the downtown area here, if they make it that far and do not exit the freeway. Yeah, it is bizarre to see that window open like that. We don't know if there are more people involved. We have at least the one driver there seeing wearing a white shirt. Doesn't look like anybody in the back seat. Don't know if there's a passenger. That driver fiddling around. There was something in the car, possibly a cell phone. But interesting they would keep that top window open with out.
Indeed. And that's what's the most sort of unusual thing about this. For people that know this area, there's a lot of different levels of the freeway, which makes this a little bit challenging to maybe even find where exactly the vehicle is at this point. We do know that the LAPD cruiser was behind it, and now we're going to try to get a sense of where exactly it is.
Well, Alex, too, look at the traffic here starting to back up just a bit. Don't know if there's some kind of traffic mess ahead or even some kind of construction zone, but it is now much more at a crawl. We're looking at 20 miles per hour here. Haven't seen, there we go, we're back on here. Yep.
Right, and so as we know, as you approach downtown Los Angeles, and then there's all the different freeways that kind of come together there, it can really bunch up in certain points at any point of the day. 30 in the afternoon, we know in that area there is often traffic. So now this person driving on the shoulder, trying to get away from traffic, try to get away from the cruisers behind him or her as we move. We don't have information that this is a male driving this, although it sort of looks like it from the window, but it's tough to tell. And, the way they're driving is, potential for crash for somebody as they weave in and out of traffic.
Well, yeah, you can imagine when you're driving normally down the road, a school bus there, you're trying to watch the road. Perhaps you're distracted yourself as you're maybe on this talking to a passenger, and then you have this coming up behind you here. Obviously, this driver. Other vehicles, you've got police right behind them. It can be very jarring to see one of these right on your tail there. Obviously, this driver is going fast than the other cars, picking up speed here, really showing no signs of pulling or bringing this to a halt, and obviously willing to escalate with the speed there.
Right, so this person's starting to fly as we move closer to downtown LA. We're at the 110 freeway right near the expressway there. This is the Harbor Gateway area. We don't know the background of what led to this grand theft. This is. Now as we move closer, we get a better look at the window. Oftentimes with these pursuits, we see these extremely tinted window. We don't see that here as this person drives this Mercedes. We don't know if this is their Mercedes, although with the grand theft auto charge, there's a good chance that it's not.
I don't know if this is a flag representing a country, but those are the colors of in Africa. Looks like it's some kind of country flag there.
Holding it up.
Yeah, is that person trying to make some kind of statement there? I don't know. Obviously, they're willing to keep that window open. They're playing with the flag there. Where this car is going and what they're going to do to end this, only wait and see. Obviously, they're trying to make some traction when it comes to their travels, and looks like they're going to be getting closer and closer to downtown LA as they continue northbound on the 110 freeway. We're in the Compton area now.
So Senegal, there's reports of, some political unrest in that area. Now we continue to move.
Look at that move.
Okay, here we go. This is where things can really start to get dangerous. Now we're faster, trying to get away from folks. So is this some sort of political protest to make some sort of statement about Senegal, which has been talked about at the United Nations this week? Allegations of corruption. There's been a hunger strike by the country's opposition leader there. So a lot of activity when it comes to Senegal. Not something we've talked a lot about here on the local news in Los Angeles, but something that has been talked about at the world this week as many of the world's leaders have gathered at the United Nations.
Different flags from some of the have those colors, and that is one of them. Not sure exactly if that is the correct statement being made here, but we're keeping a watch on this. Look at the freeways now and the amount of traffic in different parts of Southern California as we talk about the backups at any time on a Los Angeles freeway. This lane obviously is open, but it's going to narrow down and merge eventually. And this suspect is going to have nowhere to go but be stuck in that traffic.
Well, we're in the carpool lane right now, the express lanes, which you can either pay for or you have a second passenger. It was tough to tell, but it looked like when the person was holding that flag, there may be a passenger in that vehicle. That hasn't been totally confirmed yet, but there may be somebody else sitting up there in front. It certainly looked like that to me as this person drives. Downtown, and as you would expect, as you get closer to downtown, the traffic picks up as well, and now the speed is picking up for this person in this express lane.
Could also be the flag of Ghana, as we're trying to figure out what that flag is representing. Trying to make, you have to wonder if police have any leads as to how this car was taken, from whom, by whom. Do they have a cell phone number? Are they in contact with any kind of relatives or friends, or going on behind this? But clearly somebody's willing to keep this pursuit going, knowing police are right there behind them as they hit more and more traffic in this carpool lane, though wide open. But Alex, if I have this right, I don't always get to ride in that lane, but it either merges with traffic or it does allow for an exit in the USC area.
Right, and some parts of it too, it goes kind of over the rest of the traffic as well, depending on where you are. So here we go, and then this is the area where there's some metro work as well that also makes things a little bit more complicated. And there's bus lanes as well, but we are now the 110. We're near the Florence Avenue exit in South Los Angeles. We are apparently 2 exits away from where we think this thing started. Often we will see suspects return to neighborhoods where they are familiar and drive around those neighborhoods, sometimes drive towards their home. Will that happen again in this situation? Are they driving towards an area where they know? Could their family members or friends be waiting for them? Could they be on the cell phone with them trying to arrange a next move? That is all possible right now. Continue to move in South Los Angeles.
Yeah, we picked it up. It was already going northbound on the 405, northbound on the 110 here. So if they're backtracking, that's interesting to see. The suspect took off with this car, went south, flipped around, going back north to the start of the pursuit. And like you said, that has all the indicators of going back to a neighborhood in which you feel comfortable, you know the streets, you have your friends and family. And if there's going to be a surrender, or there's going to be a foot bail, or they're going to try to bring this to an end somehow, they might want to be around an area of comfort to them. And we'll see how this Right now they're staying on the freeway and again making their way closer and closer to the heart of downtown. They're not in any kind of exit lane. They're not on the right side to merge or to get off that freeway. No. So right now they're continuing on pursuit.
They might just keep going. So we're just past Gage, and we were looking at Slauson. This is Slauson here, where they could potentially get off, but it doesn't look like they're going to take that opportunity there. They're continuing to move on the northbound 110 freeway as we look at a grand theft auto suspect. This is a special edition of the Fox 11 News at 5. We're on at 3 o'clock today because we've got baseball coming today here on Fox 11. In the meantime, we are watching. Christine, as we just talked about, there is that part of the 110 freeway where the express lanes go over the rest of the traffic. That is what we are looking at now. We've now reached that part of this freeway.
Well, again, those who buy those transponders to be in that fast track lane, to be in that carpool lane, really, as you can see, the advantage of being above the traffic and out of the traffic, you see it's quite thick below there, even at, what, 3:30 in the afternoon. There is that heavy around the closer to downtown area here. Right now, still in South Los Angeles, you can see LAPD right there on that pursuit. Obviously, at that speed, you're probably not going to do a spike strip. You're not going to do you're going to kind of run this out until the person runs out of gas, brings it to a close, or somehow they're able to end this. But maneuvers that we sometimes see are often limited to surface streets or the lower speeds or areas that are going to be much more safer where you wouldn't have some kind of catastrophic accident should that car go over the edge or something.
The danger would be you spin it off over the edge and then it ends up hitting into another car of just an innocent driver who's nearby. So now this is where the express lane sort of merges, and we're now on the same level as the rest of the we're not too far from the Coliseum, the BMO Stadium, where LAFC now see Adams. We're near USC as well. This is also an area with a lot of traffic, and we're seeing that evidence once again right now as we're near Figueroa as well. So we're about to real landmarks in Los Angeles as this person continues to drive, and now driving past the metro area as well.
One of our experts in the sky, Kevin Takumi. Kevin, paint a picture of this area as you know the roadway so well. I believe this is going to either exit off the freeway, there is merging, sometimes there's a bus lane. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, northbound as you go, you know, up here, up the 110 freeway. Now he's going to cut over, he's going to try to get off, or just get through traffic. Otherwise, that lane would have ended up on Adams. But looks like try to get over in traffic here, coming up to near the 10 freeway, and we'll see which direction he's going to go from here.
Kevin, I think we're a little bit ahead of you on our picture here. He is back now in traffic, if we can say he, on the 110 northbound freeway. And yeah, you're right, that law enforcement was waiting for him on that exit there.
Maybe that's why he moved. Maybe he saw that. Who knows?
Could be, or knows the area well enough to know it's going to put you streets kind of near the USC area downtown. So this driver opting to get back on the busyness of the freeway, the 110 freeway, heading into downtown, obviously finding a wide open lane there, probably the carpool lane.
Yeah, he's staying in it. I mean, he's definitely staying kind of in the area underneath, off to at the end. He's getting deep into the downtown area as he approaches the 10 freeway here, kind of going under the Adams exit there. So you can see traffic very heavy, and traffic's going to be heavy all the way up through the 110 area as it goes into the center of downtown LA. It looks like he's trying to get over to the right now a little bit. And so we'll see if he's going to try to make a transition on the 10 freeway or if he's just going to continue into downtown up the 110.
So this is an area that is familiar to so many folks. We're passing where University of Southern California is located. We are now approaching towards downtown Los Angeles, LA Live, Crypto.com Arena, a lot of these LA The skyscrapers that are so familiar to folks are where we are headed, but as we also head in that direction, you also usually run into some pretty serious traffic, and that is what is now. They just threw something, I don't know what that was, just threw out the window. Maybe we can try to replay that and slow that down and figure out what that was.
I haven't heard or seen if that was, if the suspect in this Grand Theft Auto was armed or anything, or they just threw out some junk out the window. But you definitely know they'll be picking that up. Those trailing units in the back there will be picking that up as evidence to find out exactly what was tossed out there.
So as the suspect is making his way closer and closer to the heart of the downtown area, Kevin, we've got some freeway options here. Stay on the 110 northbound. Get off the 10 freeway, go to the east or to the west, or even get off on surface streets. We talked about this kind of being closer to where the whole pursuit began. I might have thought the suspect would exit the freeway, and maybe they're doing that right now. Are we doing a freeway transition, Kevin?
I think we're moving to the 10.
Looks like we're going to make a transition here, and actually this is going to, we're going east on the 10 now. It's going to take us eastbound on the 10 freeway.
Yes, during my old USC days, this is a very that we're now looking at, and you're looking at all the different freeways there, and a long line of black and whites now following the driver as well. It'll be really interesting now that they know what he or she threw out the window. Some more insight.
He took the loop. He actually took going west on the 10. I was going to think it's going to take us west on the 10 freeway from downtown LA now.
Okay, we're also Grand Theft Auto here. We're hearing now the suspect wanted for robbery. Authorities know they're not sharing too much at this point in time. Again, interesting statement there with that flag. So we have us now on the westbound 10 freeway. This would be the third freeway since we picked up this pursuit. 405 first, the 110, and now the 10 westbound, leading, of course, towards the Santa Monica area if this pursuit continues. And Kevin, at this hour going westbound, what are you seeing? Not so bad, traffic-wise?
It's not so bad, but it is going to, once he gets around near Arlington, Crenshaw Boulevard, things will start down here going in that westbound direction. Then it opens up again a little bit towards National, but the 405 in both directions very backed up at this hour. So we'll have to see if he hits the 405 or if he continues west into the Santa Monica area.
Usually at this time of the day, driving west on the 10 in this area is against traffic. There's a lot of traffic going east on the 10. Usually it's a pretty nice ride, even at 3:30, 4 o'clock going west. We'll see if that's able to continue. Obviously, you run out of freeway in Santa Monica, and then it becomes PCH. We'll see if this person goes that far or decides to change direction. But as we know, at this time, the 405, which would be the next freeway that you can transition to, never, ever fun. And part of the worst area usually is right around that 10-405 merge, which is would be the next place to potentially change freeways. The other option for this driver, of course, would be to get off and to go onto surface streets as well. Although, as we know, this particular area, Christine, pretty crowded surface streets, not a lot of extra room in one of the most congested parts of Southern California.
Kevin, as people are watching this pursuit, we now know it's a robbery suspect here. They might be thinking, you know, and we have people watching from all across the world sometimes because we stream. Why not a pit maneuver? Why not a spike strip? Why don't you weigh in on that? You've covered so many of these pursuits.
I think the danger that they always come across with possibility if it's a robbery suspect, they want to definitely get some information from the origination point there on what weapon was used in the robbery. They definitely, that really kind of takes out of the play is the pit maneuver, unless that was a gun that was tossed earlier that we saw something was thrown out of there, but I haven't heard yet if they've confirmed.
Well, let's look at that, what you're talking about. Moment, you see it there, they throw something out the window. It certainly looks like it could be a weapon or something. It looks to be shaped like like a weapon. We don't know exactly what it is. We have not gotten official word from that, but as we look at this over and over again, it would not be surprising if in fact that was a gun that they threw out the window, because there are so many folks. Now we're looking live at where we are as we head through Mid-City on the 10 West. As I mentioned, usually traffic is pretty light at this time of day, and we are seeing the major difference between the 10 West and the 10 East. But as you mentioned, officers would have stopped in that area, pick that up, and do some, you know, a sense. It gives you a sense of where this person is or why they would do that. It's an interesting choice.
If that, definitely put that in their minds of doing a pit maneuver earlier. They usually don't elect to do a pit maneuver when they believe that there is an armed suspect, just because after that pit maneuver, it puts officers with the suspect, and so they don't really do the pit maneuver with that. They will try to do sometimes they will do spike strips if possible, but right now you can see all of the lanes here. The driver can move all across the lanes here, and some of this with lighter traffic, but at this point it doesn't look like they're going to. Definitely not going to give up on this suspect, but the speed's still too fast to try any kind of pit maneuver at this point. So, like you said, it looked like they tried setting up spikes up in the express lanes there, and he got out of that lane. But now we're just going to have to watch it. But speeds stay in the 55 to 60 mile an hour range. There is some traffic. Looks like that is passing too. So we're going to have to keep an eye and see where those black and whites are. Usually, I don't know how the passing traffic could get by those black and whites unless they were kind of alongside it. But as he moves here, he's going to be coming up very quickly. He's coming up on Fairfax, so coming up on that mid area of Fairfax, La Cienega, and continuing here. Traffic remains fairly light here as he continues moving westbound.
Yeah, it is pretty wide open. We think about traffic getting really heavy during rush hour, not so much as Alex talked about on the west side going west. So what does the suspect do when he gets near PCH at La Cienega now? Several more exits does the suspect get onto PCH, try to flip a U there? If the suspect gets off and tries to go back eastbound on the 10, they're going to hit a lot of traffic. You're already seeing it now here at 345. And so it'll be interesting to see how this plays out and what direction this car is going to go. And you think if they know the area, they're going to run up into PCH.
It's been on and off throughout this entire pursuit, you know, back and forth across 110. So it's been on and off, but keeping on the freeways, even through some of the tougher portions of traffic, the driver here has just been staying onto the freeway. So you're right. We'll have to see what happens when he hits the end, gets down to PCH. If he just gets off, tries to flip around and just trying to stay out of custody here as long as he can, just driving back and forth across the freeways.
Of course, the other option would be to get off before they hit the freeway onto a side street, you know, in the West Los Angeles area, in Santa Monica, those areas. Pretty crowded and not all that easy to navigate, and they have their own traffic issues at this time in the afternoon, especially the roads right around the freeways. Anybody that ever tries to head towards the 10 or the 405 at this time knows that getting on the freeway can often be more challenging than even being on the freeway. So we will see if they put themselves in the middle of that mess as they try to continue to stay away law enforcement as long as possible. But this is almost a scenario where you could almost pit this person because the freeway is so wide open. They're going a little faster than you would like. They usually like to do that around 35 miles an hour, but this freeway remarkably wide open as we're heading westbound on the 10. Kind of an advertisement for people after this is over to drive that way.
Well,
It looks like a nice drive.
Yeah. We have seen them do that pit maneuver on the freeway. It's always like, wow, right there on the freeway with those speeds. But you're right. When it was wide open, it would have been a moment to consider that, perhaps. But now you have traffic and a bus there, and you have people to think about. Still trying to identify the flag. Could be a Rastafarian flag. But Bolivia also has those colors. We looked at the countries Ghana and Senegal, but they do have a star in the middle of that flag with those colors. Interesting to see the suspect was just waving hold of it and shaking it. So they're trying to make some kind of statement loosely or not, but they have that flag out there with that window open as they are evading police here in the Palms area now.
You wonder if they started this pursuit as some sort of political protest or political statement, or they ended up in a pursuit and said, why not turn it into a statement? Let's go Senegal or Ghana or Rastafari or whatever they're trying to make that point. And obviously, when this thing comes to an end, we'll get a better sense of what exactly that flag is as we now move into the Cheviot Hills area. It looks like this driver is slowing down despite the fact that they've got a wide open freeway here. Maybe this person knows where to go next, but looking at real slow speeds now as you see other drivers coming on even faster.
Well,
we're just past Overland, so that's going to, we're coming up next going to be the 405, so we'll see what kind of decision he makes here. North and southbound on the 405 are packed, but he's kind of hugging that right lane here, so we'll see if he tries to make a transition or if he just does, like you said, like in the beach area. And there are other opportunities there for him to just kind of flip around, but then, as you were mentioning earlier, Alex, eastbound side of traffic is very, very heavy.
But you're right, though. Those options there on the 405, northbound or do that right there as well. Coming up here.
Some sort of motioning there by the driver.
He just passed the southbound transition, so the northbound transition's coming up. He's kind of in that right lane for it. It's going to come to a, kind of a very stopping, but now he's kind of pulling over to the left.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to motion to kind of look like he's going to stay on the 10 going westbound here, but you got speed times dropped dramatically from what they were earlier.
Well, I make that trek often coming into work at about this hour, maybe a little bit earlier, and that 405 northbound does get really backed up, and you can see the traffic right there. That driver, I'm thinking, saw that traffic and thought, wait a minute, I'm going to be in bumper to bumper. Yeah. Let me transition and get towards the 10, stay on the 10 here.
Yeah, in terms of avoiding traffic, staying on the 10 West is the best decision.
For a minute.
You run out of 10 West because, as one of our colleagues used to say, we're braced up against, this is the end of a continent that we're about to hit, and there's no more room once you get to that point in Santa Monica. Mar Vista area, we're about to be very close to our station, actually, as we have
passed. That's why I know the trek.
Bundy. Yeah. So this is an area very familiar to us personally. I don't think he's coming in to say hi. And look at this LAPD vehicle very close behind, and an amazingly wide open freeway here. I mean, usually the traffic isn't that bad at this time going west. You wonder if the LAPD traffic control, though you see that vehicle there, so maybe not, to try to keep this thing, make it safer as we now get towards the right. You wonder, is this person going to try to get off the freeway anywhere as we tell? Are we going to finally see side streets? During the time that we have been on this, we have not seen this driver on surface streets, but right now that looks like that could change as we could be getting off the freeway here on Sawtelle. The question's going to be, does this person stay on the streets for a while, or do they try to transition right away into a different freeway? So here we go, now moving into busy traffic.
That's going to be the Bundy exit. That's going to be the Bundy exit. So southbound on Bundy now, and crossing under the 10 freeway, and then headed south into West LA here. Let's see if he's going to try to get back on the freeway.
Yep.
He did. He turned around, and he's going to go back eastbound now.
You know, Kevin, it tells me that suspect might very well know this area to know how to exit those freeways and get back on to go eastbound on the 10, where he's going to hit some traffic. I'm wondering here, as we've done so many pursuits, is this suspect perhaps just toying with police in that just going to drive this till it ends with that flag there? Have they been in jail before? Have they encountered police before? Again, it's a robbery suspect. Are they just saying, okay, I've been in cuffs before, I'm just going to play this comes to an end? Kevin, you've done a lot of these.
405.
Yeah, it just looks like they're going to just keep on driving on and off the freeways here until the gas runs out. They haven't done anything that's been too dangerous yet. A little bit of swerving back and forth, but it hasn't been high speeds. It hasn't been crashing into any other vehicles or anything like that. It's just been kind of this kind of steady pace here as we go. So it looks like they're just going to go until it runs out of gas or they get hit with the pipe. The tires get flattened. But that just kind of looks like the way it's going to go on here.
Well, they've really tried to avoid streets so far. So this is a big decision for this person. Are they going to go 405 south, or are they going to stay on the 10 east? It looks like we're going to stay on the 10 east, and some of these other drivers are like, get me out of here. I don't want to be a part of this. Now this person driving on the side of the road there, and this is where it could get more dangerous because there's a lot more vehicles there, and if they really are desperate to get away, that makes things much harder.
Scary to see this amount of traffic here on the road and this driver going to continue. Like you said, Kevin, if they wait till they run out of gas, could be in a populated area with a lot of other motorists. That's got to be a concern.
It is, but the LAPD and the CHP will break the traffic behind it, so they'll try to do their best to get everybody clear and out of the way at that point. But he's driving on that 10 east there, and as he came the other way, we saw that traffic going the other direction. So that emergency lane does not last for long as it approaches back into the mid-city. It becomes right up against the wall, so he's not going to have a lot of room to go continuing eastbound here. It's going to be down.
Well, you're watching Fox 11 News coverage here of taking us on several freeways. We were talking earlier on the 405, 10, the 10 freeway, and now back on the 405 northbound. Obviously, this motorist working his way around these cars.
Yeah.
We're on the 10 West now. Yeah, 10 West.
Yeah,
okay,
10
got it,
East.
my bad.
Aren't we at the 10? We're at the 10 East. It's hard to follow.
It's been several freeways,
We've been all over the place.
It's been several freeways.
Yeah, we're on the 10 East, heading back towards downtown Los Angeles, is where we're going after they made that turn. So we are on the air right now because of a special newscast because of baseball here on Fox 11. And in about a minute, we've got to go to that baseball coverage. So if you're really fascinated to see how this thing ends, we're going to continue our coverage online at foxla.com/live, on the Fox 11 app, on the Fox local.